So I did not intend for this video to be a 3-part section, but just because of how long it is and the nature of explaining it all, that's what I had to do. So sorry guys, but here's part 3, finishing up the sleeves.
So I just did a real quick press. As you can see, this lining is nicely down. The placket is nice and clean. If you have any issues or any troubleshooting, this is the time to stop the video, write a comment, send me an email, and I will walk you through the troubleshooting phases. But moving on, putting on the buttons. Now, if you have 4 buttons, 3 buttons, whatever the case may be, this is all the same information. We are going to start from going from the bottom of the sleeve up 1.5 inches. So just take your roller 1.5 inches from the bottom, make a mark. Then you're going to go from this side seam right along there, and you're going to go in 1/2 inch. Make a mark right like this. Now all your buttons are going to be lined up on that. So from this bottom mark, which is where the first button will go, you are going to go, let me do it this way so it's a little bit easier for you to see. You're going to go just past 1/2 inch. Like just barely across that line. You see that? I'm sure it's like a 1/16 or something, but not that good at math. Put a mark there. And just keep going up the amount of buttons you have. If you have 1 button, stop. 2 buttons, stop there. 3 buttons, you get the idea. So here we are. We're going to get our button thread, thread the needle, make sure we wax the thread, and we're just going to tie a knot on the end and then start sewing. So I didn't have any wax with me. I forgot to bring it for this little studio time I'm doing. So I will show you, if it messes up, why you should always beeswax your thread. So starting in, you're going to take your needle, go in between the placket, shove it right in that crease, and go to the first little X with the chalk. Just like that. Pull it all the way through. Put your button in. And I like to do it where it's crossed over the button, so you're doing like a little X over each buttonhole, going to the caddy corner one. If you have blazer buttons, you can watch my video on how to install blazer buttons onto your jackets, and you're doing the same marking system, just with blazer buttons. Go up a little bit. Go in that hole. Make a little X. Then you take your needle, push it through, and you go all the way up to the next X. But you want to allow the needle to go through without catching any of this lining here. You're going to catch the last one to tack it, but none of these other ones should be touched. It just makes it look more professional. Alrighty, here we are. Once you get to the last button, so like I said, if you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever. Once you get to the last button, you're going to tack it to the lining. So put it through the 2 holes just like that. You're going to lay the sleeve out. Make sure that none of the lining gets bunched. It's all laid flat. And then I like to take a needle and throw it right in up here so that you know that none of the lining is going to shift. You can even, just to be safe, throw one down at the bottom as well. This way the lining will not shift on you when you go to tack it. Now you're going to be doing the same exact motion and stitching method. It's just instead of only tacking a little bit of the outside layer, you're going to go straight through into the lining. So like this. Push it back through. This takes a little bit of trying to find that right hole, so it went right into there. Pull it out and then stitch it back. And the second time through, you're not sticking it through one of the buttonholes. You're just going right out the side of the button. To tie it off, I go around once, make a loop, pull it through the loop. Do it that twice. Push the needle back through the fabric to tie it off. Cut the thread. Now just press it one last time to get rid of any extra marks. Cut off any thread, and that is your sleeves shortened. So if you watched part 1, I talked about if you don't have any sticky tack, fusible iron-on fusing to stick this together, you can hand stitch it. So I'm going to briefly run that through for you guys, but if you want to see the full way of doing it, you can check out my video on how to cheat shorten your sleeves. It's the same method used there, or the same way that you can hand stitch the hem. I made a video on that as well. So I'm just going to show you what you're going to do and where you're going to do it, and for a full detailed tutorial, go there. So you're going to take your needle with a knot and you're going to put it through the fabric just like so, not catching the outside, just this inside layer. Obviously, do not use button thread. Use a much thinner thread because this otherwise will not work. Once you have this tacked, tied down, however you want to start that, you're just going to make a series of stitches across the top of here, maybe like 4 or 5, going in and just barely catching this outside layer. Even less than that is showing right there. But just for demonstration purposes, you're going to do that. And just do that like 2-3 more times, just barely catching, going through, just like that. And once you get to the end, you're just going to tie it off, just like we did the button almost. Make a loop, pull it through, make a loop, pull it through, push it through, and you'll keep it, cut it, and this will keep your sleeve from falling down because, as you can see, it's tacked. Do that on both sides if you don't have the fusing, or just reinforce it with the fusing and that stitching for a nice solid hole. But that's it. All you need to do for shortening or lengthening your sleeves. Hope you guys enjoyed. So that was it, guys. We just completed shortening or lengthening your sleeves if you're a taller guy. If you have any questions, unfortunately, because the nature of teaching on YouTube, I'm not able to go through all the troubleshooting methods or any problems that you may occur or run into while doing this alteration. So if you do have anything that messed up or you can't seem to figure out, or that placket transition just isn't right for you, please feel free to give me a message, email me. We can do whatever it takes to get you through that hiccup that you are facing. So please do not hesitate to do that if you need extra help in this, because again, it is one of the harder alterations to master with menswear. But other than that, guys, thank you again for watching. I will see you next time, and please, as always, leave a comment about what you would like to see next. That helps me to curate content that is actually interesting for you guys. So thank you again, like, share, you know what to do, and I will see you next time.